Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another wonderful weekly Ask an Engineer. This is Thanksgiving Eve 2015, but we're here, we're burning our turkey at home and then hanging out with you here, doing another Ask an Engineer live from the Adafruit factory, which is very quiet right now because everyone's gone to see their family, except us. You're our family. With me is Mr. Lady 8 on camera control and also in charge of the turkey itself. I do electronics. I don't do turkeys.
All right.
Tell us what's on today's show.
Okay, on today's show, the code is Feather Huzzah. We'll talk about all the amazing people who showed and shared their projects on the show and tell. Packet the mailbag and stop by. Adafruit Jobs Board, the place to post your skills and also for companies to find makers. Time travel, look back at hackers, makers, artists, and engineers throughout time and history. Wearables, we got a great video. 3D printing, another great video. Pi Day, we'll probably not talk about anything other than we can't talk about anything because something's happening soon, maybe. New products.
Okay.
We'll answer your questions.
Keep it vague.
We'll have a trivia question, all that and more on Ask an Engineer. All right. So, first off, let's tell everybody the code. It's Feather Huzzah, all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Time tonight. 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. That gets you 10% off everything in the store except for things like gift certificates or software, because we can't do that. Okay, this is a special Thanksgiving edition of Ask an Engineer. Yeah. We've done this for years, and every year it usually falls around the same time, and we have a show. We used to
I hope it falls the same. It should be the last Thursday, Thursday of every.
Well, we used to do the show on Saturday, so leading up until or
That's
after.
true. It would be after. Now it is the Wednesday before.
Okay. So every year we have some type of graphics celebrating Thanksgiving.
Look at this lens flare cyber turkey.
Yeah. And
epic.
So last year we had posted up our promise about what we would do and not do as a company. And also it was a time to give thanks.
Have we kept our promise?
We did.
Good.
So a few things that we promised. We said this all the way back in 2010 when the blog really started kicking off. And we made some promises like we were not going to make blinking Christmas tree kits. Nope. But we wanted to be really clear about the things that we would and wouldn't do. And basically promising our customers and community that we're not going to sell you out. We're not going to spam you. We're not going to do those things. So what we did is we had a post and we said we're never going to have ads on the website. We're not going to harvest your email address and send you a newsletter or anything like that. We don't take sponsored posts. And so we wanted to make that clear. And we did. We've kept our promise. We've not done stuff like that. So we're 100% supported by the customers and the community out there. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then this year, you'll probably write a post tomorrow, what you're thankful for. We have a bunch of thanks posts from the team here at Adafruit. I wanted to just say thanks out there to some folks while we're doing this before we get to the show. So, thanks to everybody out there that supported us getting this Arduino thing going. We are the manufacturer of Arduino in the USA now, and a lot of it, the reason is because people do make a choice, and they're getting the real Arduino boards that are authorized by Arduino.cc and Massimo and all the team members. So thank you for that. That was a huge risk for us, and it was worth it.
It's a lot of work, but we're smooth sailing.
Yeah.
We're doing it. I learned a lot about how to test Arduinos as fast as possible.
Yeah.
We made a lot of jigs. We've sourced a lot of parts. Can't say how many, but it's a lot. and it's going good. I mean, we are able to supply. We've had no snags, no issues. Thanks everybody for doing everything you can, supporting arduino.cc whenever possible.
So thanks for that. And then again, thank you for supporting this gothy electronics company called Adafruit. We're a little different. We're a little weird.
But we're American.
Yeah, we're what you've got. And so thank you so much. Adafruit is 10 years old now, and the company's in a good spot. We still haven't had to get any loans, no venture capital.
Soon it's going to be 11 years.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're really thankful for, and maybe I'll send a link to the team here so that it's a video message, but thank you so much for helping to run Adafruit. Lady Ada and I were able to take off a little bit of time, and we didn't go on vacation. We didn't do, well, we will one day. We didn't just sleep in. We decided that we would donate some time and some money to helping the homeless in New York City. So about 60,000 people a night are in homeless shelters. A lot of people don't have Thanksgiving meals. So you can't stop yourself. You like making kits. So these are turkey kits.
I worked on turkey kits.
Yeah, so these are boxes of meals. It's a full meal inside each one. And here you are loading boxes. This reminds me of when we did the Zoxbox kits around the holidays.
It was disturbingly similar the way it works. So you put the boxes out. Instead of resistor capacitor bags and mechanical bags, it was
stuffing and stuff like that.
Stuffing and a turkey and one can of gravy, one can of cranberry sauce, one can of green beans, one can of corn, and then a box of cornbread mix.
So we're really thankful that we were able to take the morning off and go do something like that.
And we met some really nice people.
Yeah, it's important.
It was awesome.
It's important to our local communities and the city that we live in to give back. And this is something we wanted to do. And so this made us think about something. Next year, we're going to have paid days off for any Adafruit employee who wants to donate their time to a nonprofit 501 C3. And I got the clearance from all the different people I have to talk to. Like, we have employment lawyers and we have an insurance company. Everything that we do as a company, we have to make sure it's always good. But giving to your local community in some way, you can do money, you can do time. I think the most valuable thing people can do is time. So I'm very thankful. That's something important to you. It's important to the company. It's important to everyone. And so that's something we're going to be able to do for all of our employees.
Last year we implemented the 401k. And some more employee benefits and some more time off. We added that. But then next year we wanted to add something that we thought was valuable and
for everyone and for the world.
And of course we're always giving like bonuses and raises and promoting from within and all that stuff. But we also have a lot of people who are very service oriented at Adafruit, and we wanted to make sure that they could still, they're doing service before they came to Adafruit, and they wanted to continue. This allows them to do so. So we're going to see how that goes. That's going to be 2016.
Yeah. So this is important to us.
We're coming up with interesting ways to. I mean, we have this company, and we don't have investors, and we don't have a board of directors. So we actually Phil and I get to decide, and we're like, this is the right thing to do. We get to do it. We don't have to justify the return on investment.
So, anyways, thank you everyone who helped us move boxes of turkey. Those are all getting out there right now. And then also, thank you all to the team members here at Adafruit that help run things and gave us the time and flexibility to go do that. Okay.
Nothing was on fire when I got back.
Okay, so now it's time to pay some bills. We have the free stuff going on. Check adafruit.com/free. A lot of stuff's going to be changing fast, and we're going to be running out of stuff. We have holiday stuff coming up. Just be ready. We have different tiers of free things. As you're checking out, you'll see it. adafruit.com/free has a changing list of free stuff. We still have same-day delivery. Thursday, tomorrow, nothing's moving in New York City. However, Friday, same day is still on, and then all next week. Just be ready. Programming note, this is Ask an Engineer, 8 p.m. every Wednesday.
What you're doing.
Show and tell, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We also do Adafruit on Twitch. We're broadcasting on Twitch live right now. Tonight at 2 a.m., we're going to do a special Raspberry Pi edition of From the Desk of Lady Ada. So be around for that.
I have some raspberries.
Yeah. And the Desk of Lady Ada is one of our new shows. We've been doing that all week. We broadcast on Periscope. It's a lot of stuff going on. I don't know of any other, I used to say electronics company, now I'm going to say any company that broadcasts on YouTube, Periscope, Ustream, Twitch, and does all the stuff that we have going on right now.
How about meerkats? Do you do meerkats?
I don't do meerkat. I suppose I could, but I don't.
But you do periscope, which is very
Yeah,
similar.
I suppose I could. Maybe tonight I'll throw another phone on the tree of phones, and we'll see.
There's a tree of phones.
So, okay.
Okay.
So, show and tell is what we do every week. Wednesdays, 7:30. There's a bunch of people showed up. Why don't you do the augmented list?
Okay, let's get right to it. A bunch of people were on holiday, but we had some new people show up as well. Noah and Pedro came in. They showed off 2 new projects they're working on right now. They're working on a Thomas-style Daft Punk helmet, and it looks awesome. They've learned a lot since their last Daft Punk helmet. They're also redoing the old one. I don't remember the name of the other Daft Punk fellow. It's the one that's not Thomas. So they're going to redo that one as well, which is great because the last one was very good, but it was a little heavy. So I'm excited to try out this new lighter weight, thinner shelled one. And they're also experimenting with transparent Wearable and some other materials or PET to make a translucent shield. They're also making a really awesome Pip-Boy, except this one is not like the totally lame one that just uses a phone, lame. This one uses a Raspberry Pi, a 3.5-inch Pi TFT, and has buttons and knobs that do stuff. It also has maps that it displays from your local zip code. So if you configure it, like for Manhattan, it will actually show you the map of Manhattan. Then we can put a GPS and it'll actually track you. That'll be awesome. So check that, that's in progress. Phil B came in from Adafruit West Coast. He's got a mega dot star painter. He upgraded his now 3 or 4 year Raspberry Pi painter project. It was like a 32 LED per meter, 1 meter strip, and it was very basic. And this time he's doing 2 meters of 144 LED pixel. He's got gamma and color correction going on, and it looks amazing. These are like super awesome LED light painting images, so he will be documenting that up soon. It looks great. Aiden has a new softbot controller that uses a 5-volt motor and solenoid and a 3D printed box. Richard had an accidental voice changer on, which made him sound like a holiday elf, and so we thought it was on purpose because he has the most annoying holiday scarf project, which is like a sewn and knitted NeoPixel and piezo / sound making holiday scarf. It kind of looks a little bit like a wreath that you wear, and it's blinky and annoying. Actually, a really cool project. He also is making little 8x8 LED pixel art. That's cool. Byron came in to show off his LED autoreactive tree. It's a early, but not better early than late. It's a Christmas tree that has LEDs and NeoPixels, and it reacts to music, and it's got processing, the programming language. And it was a rockin' tree. This is a rockin'.
And 3D printed ornaments.
And it had 3D printed. You're right, 3D printed ornaments. I almost forgot that. Tucker came in to show off his Fritzing designed LED board. A Fritzing designed relay board, which has a couple extras in it, and also a Fritzing diagram of an all-in-one Arduino Mega solenoid lock controller with an LCD output, RGB LED, 3x4 number pad. I mean, this is and a read relay to detect if the door's open. Like, this is the most hardcore security system ever. It just needs a flamethrower for when you type in the code wrong 4 times.
All created in Fritzing and using the board service from Fritzing too.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. It's cool to see people using that service. It's exactly what it's designed for.
Yep.
Andrew is a leader for a Cub Scout troop, and showed off. He's going to be taking a skull, which is the mascot for his Cub Scout troop. The skull represents what happens when you don't take considerations when going out into the wilderness. You don't pack enough water. You don't dress properly. So he has got his little skull. That's the mascot, and he's going to be outfitting it with servos and LEDs and maybe some like a wave shield or like a sound effects board so that it will talk and animate and blink, and that sounds great. He's also going to maybe get some wearable projects for the Cub Scout troops so they can learn electronics with wearables. And then he's also making his own 3D printer, but he might hook it up with like a knife instead of extruder or like a laser cutter or something. And then finally, Roberto came back to show off some more OpenSCAD projects he's working on. This time, it's a programmable nameplate, and they look really cute. Little nameplate, you have little icons on the side. You can have little Mario characters or Star Wars iconography. And he posted up it on his GitHub account, so you can go and make your own programmable nameplate for your office or your desk or whatever.
Yeah. All right, all participants on the show and tell will get an as seen on the show and tell sticker. all you have to do is look for the post on Adafruit and also on google.com/plus Adafruit, and you'll see the post. You'll see it. It's in the events. You can put your name. That's what's ideal. And then we can add you to the circle. And then do stop back at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and you'll see the invite. So that's how you do it.
Yep.
Thousands of people over the years have done this. I think it's the longest running live Hangout right now, like in all of Google land.
Yay!
Which is pretty amazing. Okay, let's keep going. Next up, Packet to Mailbag. Every week we read these letters to our all company meeting called State of the Fruit, and we read them here for you. So this week, this is from Luke. Thanks so much. Adafruit easily has the best customer service I've ever dealt with. Between the most instant shopping and arrival the next day, customer service responses in under 10 minutes, and overall convenience and friendliness of the experience, it makes problem solving 10 times better than other companies.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you, Luke. Yeah, under 10 minutes.
We pride
10
ourselves,
times better.
We pride ourselves on the 10-minute response. We have,
Yeah.
the way we do it is we split up the customer support. So we do tech support separately than sales support. So, you know, if you need to cancel an order or change your address or something,
We can
that's handled as fast as possible.
instantly get you to the right people.
Get you to the right people.
Yeah.
And then if you have a tech support question, we have a team of engineers, full-time engineers, like 4 or 5 of them now, in the forums who are able to help people with all sorts of projects, from Raspberry Pi to electronics to analog to digital to power to NeoPixel, anything. We have a team who will do our best to get your project going.
And you're there, you're an engineer.
I'm in there. I
and
answer like 10 plus a day.
Yeah, and we have a whole team. I'm also there, so we take care of business. Okay, next up, Adafruit Jobs Board, the best and only place online where makers can, for free, post their skills that they have, and companies can look for cool makers, usually people who are very familiar with something very popular, like NeoPixels or Arduino or something that
Raspberry
Adafruit...
Pi, Linux.
Yeah. So this week, this is Barry. And Barry is saying, we need robotics and Arduino assistance. We have an interactive project involving robotic mannequins to be exhibited in Manhattan in April of 2016. And we're looking for a talented student or other individual who can work with us on this project. The work would involve the redesign of a mechanical system for several existing robot mannequins and design of computer control software, servos, motors.
Yeah.
Please send your resume, send it off. This is nyartprojects.com. I actually see this and hear about this a lot. There's a bunch of art projects that their days are over, they need to redo them, and they want to use something that's reusable, scalable, low cost, and it's Arduino.
You know what's fascinating? So it's been over 10 years, but 10 years ago I went to, I did the holidays in Wisconsin. I went to House on the Rock.
Yeah.
Or is it House on the Rock? I think it's House on the Rock. And it's this amazing art museum. It's so cool. It's all electromechanical sculpture. Like Otto playing musical instruments and robotic mannequins and stuff like that. But it was all designed in I think in the 60s. And it was done with reed relays. And there's just, and it's basically like a player piano. It's kind of how it's done. And tape, and it's very few things were still running as they were supposed to, just because the relays eventually wear out. And I was just like, if I lived near there, I would probably just end up volunteering to redo it all, because it's like these beautiful art pieces.
Yeah, they just need
that just need a little bit of love and maintenance. Not just replacing the reed relays, changing out the wiring to be maybe the Arduino or something. But yeah, if people out there, check out your local art space or museum. I always hear about them needing help keeping things running.
So that's a pretty common job in the job board that we see and requests that we get. Okay, everybody's waiting for it. It is time. The Collins Lab has dropped the scene. It's there. It's up there with the Adelaide album, I think.
Adele. Adelaide.
It's
fine. That's fine.
It's my iTunes just bought it for me.
Adelaide?
Yeah. It's like you're gonna listen to.
You're gonna listen to this.
Yeah, you're just gonna do this. So here it is.
Okay.
We've covered the basics of soldering and the tools you need to make strong, sturdy connections that last. But what happens when you want to break those connections? Desoldering can seem a bit of a tedious process, but there's a few items you can use to make it a breeze. Your go-to tool for desoldering is the solder pump, or solder sucker. Yes, that is its official name. And as the name implies, it uses a spring-loaded plunger to pull molten solder right off the board. To use it, first prime the pump by pressing the plunger, heat the solder by placing the tip against the corner of the joint. Once the joint liquefies, place the pump over the solder and release the plunger. Repeat the process until the component lead is free from the board. When dealing with a large amount of solder, you may find it easier to remove some of the excess bulk with solder wick. Solder wick is really just braided copper wire, sometimes with a little flux added to it. When heated against the joint, the wick's copper braid can pull quite a bit of solder off the board. If the wick seems reluctant to draw solder off the board, you can prime it by adding a small amount of solder to it first. So desoldering through-hole parts is a relatively straightforward process. Desoldering surface mount components is a bit trickier. A solder sucker won't be able to remove the unexposed solder between the pad and the flat surface mount lead. Wouldn't it be nice if we could heat each pad and then have them remain molten long enough to just slide the part off the board? Well, we can using this. Chip Quick is a special type of solder alloy that remains molten far longer than standard solder. To use it, first apply flux to the pads and component leads. Then heat and add the alloy just like normal solder. Reheat the pins as necessary to have them all molten simultaneously, and remove the chip. Then use a solder sucker or wick to remove the excess. And finally, get the pads nice and clean with a bit of alcohol. Here's a couple of bonus tips. Removing header pins is much easier if you pry off the plastic connector piece first. Then you can remove each pin one at a time. And if you don't care about keeping a part intact, just go ahead and cut the leads before desoldering. See, desoldering can be a simple process, as long as you have a bit of patience and a solder sucker, maybe a little bit of solder wick, and Chip Quick. But after that, no sweat.
All right, okay. That is the latest Call in the Lab. Next up, some open source hardware news, mostly some shipping deadlines. Don't forget to check the site. We have a blog post about this. You have to place your orders if you're international. You should do it like tonight. Use the code FeatherHuzzah, gets you 10% off, but you should do it tonight. We have the whole list. There's things like UPS ground. Make sure you get that done by
11.
Yeah, like at least.
But no guarantee.
Yeah, and then like overnight, the latest should be December 21st.
Give yourself a couple days.
Yeah.
Don't wait till, because remember the holidays, everyone's shipping last minute. That means that things, and the same day delivery guarantee is not in place for UPS or FedEx. After the 20th.
Also if there's any weather
There's any weather,
yeah.
there's no guarantee. You don't get a refund like if it's the next day shipping. So give yourself extra time, because everybody is doing the same thing as you.
Yeah. Okay, next up, congrats, big ups. Our friends at Hackaday have released volume 2 of Omnibus. Omnibus is a graphic novel. Hackaday, my old thing, I had started the site 12 years ago or something. I'm getting old. So I'd started Hackaday a million years ago, and one of my plans and goals, and I have this sheet of all the things, was a graphic novel. And here's a video from Sophie about the Omnibus. That's at store.hackaday.com. We'll have some in our store soon, but do check it out. Next up, learn.adafruit.com. We have, guess how many?
880 something.
882 tutorials. There's 2 new ones. The first one this week is...
This is the tutorial for the Adafruit Feather Huzzah. It's a new product for this week. It's our ESP8266 with USB serial built in and live poly charging built in. We think it's lovely. It's part of our Feather line. We'll be talking about that and also some accessories that we have for Feather. This is kind of an upgrade to the Huzzah board that we have. The Huzzah board is much simpler. It doesn't have the USB to serial converter and doesn't have live poly charging, but it's much smaller. This one is kind of nice if you just want an all-in-one ready to go, like plug it in, has auto reset, can upload real fast type ESP8266 board.
Okay, next up. This one goes along with the haptic headband. That was a project that we did this week. That was on Wearables, and Becky talked about it. There's also a video. We're going to be playing that soon. That's in the learning system. If you ever wanted to make a vibration, meditation timer, and more, you can do that with Adafruit Flora and our haptic board sensor. Okay, next up, Adafruit Comics. Every week we post up a very cool comic book. I am probably going to read Dark Knight 3 that just came out today. Do you know about this?
No, there's
Yeah,
Dark
man.
Knight.
Another one came out. Frank Miller's back.
Really? You wrote it?
He's part of it.
He's part of it. Consultant.
I can't help it. I'm going to read it. I can't help it.
Why don't you read that Sun Tzu book instead?
I will.
That's kind of got the same sort of like
I'll do that too.
line art. Actually.
Yeah, a friend of the company's, Kelly Rimmon, wrote The Art of War. It's a graphic novel version. Very cool. But you know, the Dark Knight 3, I gotta read it.
Dude, Dark Knight 2 is not so great.
We don't talk about that. Okay. So
what
anyways,
makes you think 3 is gonna be good?
just like The Matrix 2 and 3 was good. I'd still watch it. Okay. This is kind of neat. This is the Legion of Superheroes. It's a 30th century multicultural, multi-ethnic, cross-species civilization and emergency response team of powered teenagers funded by a shape-shifting alien who chooses to look like Wilfred Brimley, you know, the oatmeal guy.
Yeah.
So anyways, you gotta check it out. Zay, director of shipping, wrote this up. His write-ups are amazing.
Oats.
Yeah. Okay.
Cream wheat.
Time travel. We look back in the world of hackers, makers, artists, engineers, people who have a lot of firsts. So this week, Sally Davis, happy birthday. English hematologist. Davis was a member of the steering group for the Biotechnology, Innovation and Growth Team chaired by Sir David Cooksley, and is Refresh in the Healthcare Industry Task Force and a member of the UK Innovation Council. She specialized in the research of sickle cell disease. She was a consultant hematologist on the Central Middlesex Hospital, and in 1985, and professor of hemoglobinopathies at the Imperial College. She was the first woman to hold this. She was the permanent medical officer in March of 2011 in the UK. And so first across the board, and she was the first time chief medical officer that appointed an external editor for their annual reports. This was for early career doctors in the UK. Okay. So just another first. We have these each week. We have this on time travel.
Okay.
Check that section out. It's a lot of stuff.
All right. I have never heard of this person.
You know what? Sometimes it's amazing for us to read and post about these specifically
I learned about them.
Specifically women in history. The only, I would say, drawback is we instantly become the first link because not a lot of other sites.
Yeah, I don't. She probably doesn't even have that Wikipedia page.
So that's one of the things too. Sometimes when we post about someone, eventually someone comes along and starts to fill out a Wikipedia page for them. That's good.
Okay.
The downside is sometimes there isn't a Wikipedia page, so it'd be nice for some people to.
Where did you hear about this person?
This was from Jessica, the director of Community Support and Publishing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, next up.
Hematology.
Yeah. Wearables. So if you ever wanted to meditate but didn't want to have your phone going off to remind you to stop meditating or start meditating, which defeats the complete purpose of all these things.
Yeah.
Like being calm,
relax,
and centered.
Relax,
yeah. So here is a haptic headband to get into the zone.
All right, Becky, tell us about it.
We've got a quick project for you. It's a Flora and a haptic motor driver connected with a vibrating motor for timing your meditation. Instead of having your phone alarm go off, you can have this in a headband, and it can just gently remind you that you're done with your 20-minute or your hour-long session. It's It's very similar to the mindfulness bracelet we made with Gemma, but this time we're using the I2C DRV2605L haptic motor driver. This thing is really cool because it lets you do sort of haptic gestures like taps and pulses and waveforms, and it even can vibrate to the beat of music with an audio input on board. This project's really simple to put together. Just solder the 4 wire connections from the motor controller to Flora, and then solder the motor onto the motor controller. Upload the sample code you can find in the complete tutorial for this project on the Adafruit Learning System, and adjust the time for your own preferences. After the time is up, it'll vibrate gently against your head, you can feel it, and move on about your day. This same circuit could be used for lots of different projects. You could make a DIY smartwatch with different haptic notifications for different apps, for example. What do you have in mind? Let me know in the comments, and I'll tackle your questions every week on our live Wearable Electronics show right here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe for more wearable electronics from Adafruit.
All right, and don't forget every single Wednesday, Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern.
You're on the show today.
I was on the show today.
You talked about a thing you wore.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet.
Yeah, I was showing off the Spire. This is one of the devices that.
It's like a rock.
Yeah, this
The
is one of
USB rock.
Yeah, this is one of the devices that I'm trying out. It's a activity monitor, but it's also something.
It's a chill monitor.
Yeah, it detects mood and all sorts of stuff.
So you wear it on your belt and it
Yeah.
detects breathing patterns? And stuff?
Yeah, I realized that I had 3 haptic devices on me. I have this, because it'll vibrate
Oh, it does,
and do things. I have an Apple Watch,
Yeah.
and then I have a
Oh,
phone.
wait, you have a new band for your
Yeah, I have a
watch.
band. A little
What's up with this new band?
Well, it's just a stripe.
Oh, stripey, okay.
Yeah,
Stripey
I like
good.
stripes. So, yeah. So that's what I realized. 3
Okay.
haptic devices.
Well, now you can have 4. You can have a headband.
Maybe. Okay. Next up, 3D printing. Zerp, 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 zerp. We're meeting with the Ultimaker folks. They're going to stop by.
That's right, next week.
Yeah, we're going to see them. Okay. Noah and Pedro have a video. They do a video every week. Here's a video.
Octoprint.
Yeah.
Coming up, we're taking a look at the Touch UI plugin for Octoprint. Okay, so this is the Touch UI plugin for Octoprint running on the Raspberry Pi. It basically turns the Octoprint interface into a mobile layout, making it much easier to use with mobile devices or Pi TFT displays. So the controls are optimized with nice icons, big buttons, and it just makes everything look nicer on a small display. So to get this going, you'll need the Raspberry Pi set up with the latest version of Octoprint. 1.26 has a new plugin manager that lets you install add-ons with an easy-to-use user interface. You can simply search for Touch UI in the plugin manager search field and install it from there. And once it's done, it'll automatically load the mobile interface on any device with the display that's smaller than 980 pixels wide. This makes using any Adafruit Pi TFT touchscreen display really easy to use. So we've designed quite a few all-in-one portable Pi TFT projects that you can use as the controller for your 3D printer. And our most recent one uses the 7-inch multi-touch display from the Pi Foundation. But we have a ton of different screen sizes, so be sure to check out our playlist for all the projects that use an Adafruit Pi TFT. My favorite thing has to be the live monitoring feature, which lets you use the Raspberry Pi camera or USB camera to monitor the printer or even take time lapses. So there you have it, a quick look at the Touch UI plugin, and I'd love to hear what you think and how you might want to use Octoprint in your 3D printing setup. If you have any questions on how to install Octoprint on the Raspberry Pi, please let us know in the comments and we'll answer them on our live 3D Hangout show. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more 3D printing projects. I'll see you guys next time, but until then, remember to keep on making.
Okay, don't forget, on Thursdays, except for tomorrow, there's 3D Hangouts with Noah and Pedro. They'll be back next week. This week, they'll be printing a turkey. No.
But there are
No.
there's like 2 years of videos and projects and tutorials, so
Yeah.
you check it out. There's so
Many
many
of the
things to
projects
do.
you should start printing before you go and travel and have a meal and come back, because they take a while to print.
Well, don't leave your 3D printer unattended. But
No.
while your family's over and you're serving them dinner or burning your turkey, that's a good time to 3D print.
Yeah.
Maybe 3D print some little things to stick into your turkey,
Yeah.
decorations.
So they'll be back next week. Okay, next up, Raspberry Pi news section. The news
No,
is
no news.
There's no news. So this was posted by Magpie. All will be revealed tomorrow at 7 a.m. GMT. Raspberry Pi.
Which is 2 a.m.
Yeah. So there is some big news, obviously, and we're going to do a special from the desk of Lady 8 at 2 a.m. Eastern Time. So that's like 6 hours from now.
Yeah, that's 11 Pacific, 11 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah.
So it's not too late.
Yeah, I could tell you one thing. It's not a discount or a sale. So if you're going to buy something, do it now, Feather Huzzah. It has nothing to do with this. Okay. With that being said, it's new product time, Lady Ada.
I'm ready.
This is a journey.
I am so ready.
We're on it.
I'm on this journey.
Okay, it's new product time. Let's start off with the basics.
Okay. It's an LED. These are RGB LEDs, but they're rectangular. Somebody suggested we carry these, and I was like, actually, they're kind of cute. So rather than being round, they're rectangular. So this might be good for, like if you want to embed these in acrylic or edge light something. They have a flat top, and they've got a rectangular body, and they're RGB LEDs. They're not smart NeoPixels or whatever, but maybe that's cool. So we have a demo. You want to show it's basically like that video. I can show it on the overhead. I just got one of these, and we hooked it up to an Arduino, 3 pins, and we're just color cycling. But it's just like a slim little LED. I think if you're embedding these into something or fitting them into a project, they kind of look cool and might be a little easier to use. So there you go, rectangular, diffused RGB LEDs.
Okay. Next
That's
up.
the scoop.
All right, next up. We got a bunch of like little odds and ends, little things that plug into things.
Yeah, so I got tired of making audio cables, and so this is kind of the solution. These are audio plugs and jacks that have terminal blocks. We have this for DC jacks, like plugs, and they're very handy if you have to make your own custom cables. So this basically it's your standard 1/8" headphone audio jack, stereo. You get left, right, and ground. This is RCA. You get center and positive, so you can use for audio or video. Like sometimes it's mono audio, sometimes it's composite video. We also have the jack version, so it's all 4 versions. They're just really, really handy. I might get more of these in different kinds of flavors, but if you're ever making audio cables or splicers or adapters, instead of just like getting every possible adapter from this to that, just get a couple of these, and then you can just make any custom cable or connection you need or want, like whatever weirdo configuration you need. You will be able to do it right then and there with using any stranded or solid core wire.
Okay. Next up, more things to plug in things. This is what, like a mini HDMI to HDMI?
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. It's a little adapter that takes a mini HDMI connector jack and converts it into a standard HDMI connector. Sometimes you have like a phone or a tablet, some other device or camera, and it has a mini HDMI connector, but you want to plug in a normal HDMI cable, because like chances are you all have standard HDMI cables. It's pretty rare to have mini or micro cables hanging around, but you probably have a couple of HDMI cables. So this will let you basically plug a standard HDMI into something that's a mini HDMI, not micro. Micro is different.
Yeah. Okay. Next up. I think I got all the photos. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I showed them all.
This is pretty straightforward. And then a lot going on here. It's a beautiful white color.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up.
Next up, 8 gig class 10 cards. We actually got these for the Windows 10 IoT pack, and we have a bunch left. And we got them for a pretty good price. So they're in the store. You can pick them up. It's a class 10 cards. It's really fast. These are really great for stuff like the Raspberry Pi because the operating system apparently it's a little faster. I never noticed the real difference, but apparently it does boot a little bit faster, loads things a little faster, can read and write to the card faster than the class 4. So this is a class 10, 8 gig. This is perfect for burning on OS like Jessie. Also use it for like your camera, your Arduino data logging shield or whatever. All that stuff's also great.
Okay.
And it comes in adapters. You can use it with micro or standard SD card size.
Okay.
There's a mini SD card standard. Like most of HDMI, there was also a mini standard that do you remember that? It was this one that was slightly smaller. Skipped over.
Ugh, okay.
Luckily, now there's only 2 standards.
Next up, headers.
Okay. These are standard 2x20 pin headers. They're kind of standard, like you have probably seen these before. They're a lot like the headers that you see on like a Raspberry Pi Model B Plus or A Plus or Pi 2. They're the same header. They can plug into anything that uses 2x20 female. They're handy if you need something like this.
Okay. We're gonna keep going.
Okay,
But wait, there's more.
we're not done. We have a very similar connector. This is a 2x20 female socket right angle header. So this is something that would plug into the male header that you saw, but it's right angle. So it's like if you have a board that would normally have female header, you can sort of like solder this in and it kind of gives you a 90-degree twist.
Okay.
Okay,
All right. But wait, there's more.
now we're on to the feather section of
Feather
the shell.
stuff. Feather stuff.
Now, so last week somebody even asked, like, hey, with all these feathers, you're gonna have like some sort of proto shield type thing? Yes.
Yeah.
It's the first feather wing, which is an accessory for our feather line of boards. This is the proto feather wing. It's a lovely black with gold plated pads. Prototyping. It's not a shield because our shields are only Arduino. It's a wing. It's something that plugs into any of our feather boards. It's compatible with all of them and gives you a nice grid of prototyping holes. It breaks out all the little pins, has the mounting holes, and power and ground, 3.3 volt power and ground strip. So really handy for, you know, any kind of prototyping you want to add on capability to your feather. You know, you can use stacking headers to plug into a solderless breadboard and also prototype on top.
Okay. These are in the store right now.
They're in the store now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay. Next up, there's more.
Okay, and these are the required accessories if you want to use the proto feather. You're probably like, wait a minute, how do I plug it into the feather? Well, you get this female socket set and click. You solder it onto the strips on your feather board, and now you have little sockets, and now you can plug in the proto wing on top, and now you have a little sandwich. I can show this off because this is maybe worth showing on the overhead. If you don't mind overheading.
Well, I thought I'd show the rest
Okay,
of
you
these
show
photos before, yeah. We'll go to the overhead. So this is all the different places
There's
and
just
ways you
different,
can...
yeah, there's just photos. Okay, so yeah, can you
Yeah.
overhead it up?
Okay.
Check this out. Okay, so this is the proto wing. You've got all this grid, and then on the bottom you can sort of see these are connected, the ground and 3 volts, so you get a little bit of a power rail on there. There's not a lot of space, so all these are just individual holes. We figured that's the most useful given there's not a lot of space. And then we already have in the store stacking headers, so you can put stacking headers on, and then you know, you can plug this into something and plug this on top, and so you can have like multiple levels if you want. Or if you solder in just the female header like this, you can plug in this wing, and then, okay, you're off to the races. You can put in your LEDs or buttons or sensors or whatever. And then, you know, eventually we'll have other feather wings. Like, for example, this is like a prototype servo wing. So then you would be able to plug this in and add 8 channels of servo to your board. So little snap-on additions that you can use by stacking on these feather, either stacking headers or normal female headers. So that's the idea, you know, and all the feather wings are compatible with all of the different feathers, so you can, no matter which one you get, and we'll be showing off another new one in a minute, you can use them, whether you have like the Ada Logger one, or you have the Blue Fruit one, or you have, you know, the Huzzah one.
Yeah.
Plug things in, add capability, small.
Okay.
Okay.
Tonight, there's more. Besides the star of the show, you, and your fantastic nails. So, yeah.
You're talking about Becky's nails.
Yeah. We have a new board.
Yeah, now I can actually spend a couple minutes because
Yeah.
I rushed through the.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
this is
product.
it. This is the big deal. This is our new product launch that we just put in the store today.
Okay. This is the Feather Huzzah. That's also the code. You're wondering, why is it the code? That's the product of the week. So along with all the other feather boards that I've been working on, this one, it's also kind of nice. You get to fit all the functionality you want in the same feather pinout and size. This is an ESP8266 board that is the same basic pinout as the other Huzzah boards, but has an ESP8266 CE FCC approved module, and also has a USB serial converter and the LiPo charging circuitry. So you kind of have an all-in-one, charge your battery with it, take it on the go, program it over USB, disconnect, and it's run off the battery.
Yeah.
It's the 2 inches by 0.9 inches that all the other feathers are. The other feathers we did have a 32U4 Arduino compatible. This chip is also Arduino compatible. You do have to do a couple additions to the IDE. It's not like a true Arduino, but you can do a lot of things such as I2C and SPI, GPIO. It has a micro USB connector, and we have a CP2104 USB serial converter. This one is a really nice converter that, with a couple other transistors and passive components, does auto reset. So when you're uploading using the Arduino IDE, it'll automatically reset the board into the bootloader for you by twiddling these pins, and then you can upload the code, and then it auto reset for you. It kind of uses the DTR and RTS pins. And it's got battery charging built in, so that's really handy. If you don't want to have the battery charger active because you're using like a non-LiPo battery, you can cut the little trace to deactivate it. But for most people, you can have a LiPo battery on it and then recharge it over micro USB and upload new code and then take it out elsewhere. And the way I arranged the pins on the ESP8266 feather is so all of the feather wings will work. So I have feather wings, like for example, that have a 9-degree of freedom sensor on them, or accelerometer, or a servo driver, or like NeoPixels. The pins are arranged so that they will work. Like I have an OLED wing that's going to be coming out, but it'll work with all of them because I put the I2C pins in the same location, and the RX and TX pins in the same location, and the SPI pins in the same location. So that's the new Feather Huzzah. I know people were waiting for one that had built-in LiPo and charging and USB serial, and then I was like, oh, I'll design, and I actually did design one, but in the end, once I started working on the feather boards, I'm like, you know what, if I could fit the ESP8266 all in the stuff into the same size, I'll just do this, and then we have like I'll have all these accessories that can work with it. So even though it's a different chipset than the other feathers, there's going to be a lot of cross compatibility. One thing to watch for is just it doesn't have as many pins, and it only has one analog digital converter. Kind of the deal with the ESP8266.
Before we get off new products and move on to questions, I'll add this question since it involves this one. Here is a question about the Feather Huzzah. Is it possible to stack an Adalogger feather with the Adafruit ESP8226 feather? No,
because they're both kind of baseboards. Instead, what you'd want to do is we'll have a feather wing that has a micro SD card and a real-time clock on it. That's one of the designs that we have, and that's like a one that you can plug in. We might also eventually have like a ESP86 feather wing, but it's kind of like you can't stack an Arduino on top of an Arduino. It doesn't really work because the pins, the transmit pins are the same and the receive pins are the same, so you can't do that. But I think a lot of people, they don't necessarily want to have an Arduino and an ESP8266 chip on the same thing. The ESP8266 core for Arduino is kind of better than the firmware that people use for the AT control scheme, in my opinion. So I think like just kind of running this on its own also has like 4 megabytes of flash, so it has a ton of space on it to do anything you want. So you're almost better just writing code directly for this chip.
Okay, that is new products. Good work.
Yay.
Good work, Lady Ada. You got through it. Okay.
Yay.
Whew. Let's play that new product thing. Okay, that's over. That was new products.
Okay. There was a lot of products, but the audio ones kind of went together, and then the headers weren't too complicated.
Okay, so
great.
a follow-up question. Let's see. On atmail.com, there's a short video of you with the SAM-D21 feather. Is that still in the works?
It is. Check back next week.
Yep, okay. Do we know when the Pi game emulator might be back in stock? The Pi Grill pack build. I think probably
I think the Pi
in a
Grill
week.
Pocket is, yeah, I think so, but the Pi
Yeah.
Grill Pocket's kind of, I think, probably in stock. That's
Okay.
the more recent one.
Oh yeah, you know what? I should probably do this. We're doing questions. Post your questions.
Oh, right.
In the chat.
What are we doing?
We'll get to them as fast as we can. All right. Next up. So they want to know. So that thing would be a data logger with a BLE on a feather.
You could do that too. You could have the data logger wing. It's basically like our data logger shield, but very, very small. Basically, like if you look at all of our shields, you can kind of tell what the wings are going to be because it's like, oh, you just took the data logger and you just used a micro SD card and you squished it.
Okay.
We'll be bringing out the feather wings like one a week ish for the next few weeks. I have to test all the cross compatibility matrix, which takes a little bit of time because I want to make sure that like it works with all of the different boards and future boards that you don't even know about.
Yeah.
But so when I release it, I want to make sure that it's forward and backwards compatible with everything. But I think I can maybe show off.
Yeah, let's keep answering
Yeah,
questions.
you keep going.
Okay.
But like, for the wings.
Next one. When will a Clockwing be released?
Soon. I mean, there
Yeah.
is one. I don't know what week.
Soon.
But it's not out yet.
Yeah,
Check the
soon.
blog and we'll blog about
Okay.
it.
How do I pick a capacitor for a servo controller?
It actually, you want to, if possible, look at the power line that's powering everything with an oscilloscope and see how noisy it is. That's really the best and only way to do it. If you don't, add 1,000 microfarads per servo. I mean, it depends on how big your servos are. It depends on how good your power supply is. You can always add more because this power supply just add more capacitance. It's no big deal. But if you don't have an oscilloscope, it's just annoying. People are like, oh, what value do I pick? And I'm like, well, the biggest value until the power line cleans up. And they're like, I don't have an oscilloscope. And I'm like, well, it's going to be really hard for you to know. So any basic oscilloscope will be able to show you the dips in the power supply that you want to clean up.
Okay. Next up. Can you do a tutorial on the TFT touchscreen 2.8 and 3.5 for the Raspberry Pi? Have a problem getting them to work, thanks.
We absolutely have them. We have
Yeah.
a tutorial for the Pi TFT
Gotta get
2.8
those.
inch and 3.5 inch. Check the product page.
Learn.adafruit.com.
Learn.adafruit.com. There's also on the product itself, there's a link
Okay.
to the tutorial.
How can you tell a compile time if you're running an ESP8266 with the Arduino core?
There is a defined variable called capital E, capital S, capital P, 8266. So you can do if defined, pound if defined, ESP8266, and then your code that you want to have. That's kind of the easiest way to do it.
What's the default fuse settings on the Feather 32U4?
I don't know. Check the boards.txt file for our Arduino package.
Okay. Next up, I have a Wi-Fi SD card. Can I use it with a data logger shield?
No.
Yeah,
Those
We've thought about this before.
We did this
and we even talked to them.
We talked about it many years ago. We did this, and there is actually a sort of kind of hacky way to do it, but basically it only syncs images.
Yeah.
So you have to like put your file into something that's not only named after an image, but I think the first 100 bytes has to be a valid image header. Basically, it's a total pain to do.
Yeah, do you remember when we met with them and we said, can you possibly have it so you can sync a text file?
And they were like, no.
It was iFi, yeah.
iFi, yeah.
And what came along? Like a whole Internet of Things.
Yeah.
We gave them a multi-million-dollar idea and they didn't go for it. That was a really good idea.
They had a market.
It would have been a Wi-Fi data logger.
That would have
Anyways.
been really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't do that. Anyway, yeah, it's funny. They had Internet of Things because the images always went to their server.
Yeah.
That's what
All
it is.
right. Next up, what's the best? Let's see. What's the best? Oof, there's a bunch of things. What's
There's
the
a
best?
lot.
What's the best analog to digital controller? I see.
We got a couple in the store. The ADS 1115s are great.
Okay. You can port Pixel to Android. Okay. Next up, can the Adafruit Feather Huzzah with ESP8266 be a replacement for the particle photon?
It's not a replacement.
For the projects, yes, but not for the server stuff.
The code, yeah, they don't. It doesn't. It's different. So the ESP8266 is It's a different core. It doesn't have as many pins. It doesn't have like analog digital converters. It doesn't have a DAC and all that good stuff. So it's not as capable. But you program it locally, and you kind of run it locally. You don't deploy code over the air. Whereas the particle photon, kind of the whole idea is that you deploy your code through a web IDE and not on the local IDE. So it's like basically two ways of doing it. They both are similar in that they're sort of Arduino compatible Wi-Fi microcontroller cores, but the Photon is much more powerful and has much more capability, but you have to use their online IDE, and also doesn't have like battery charging, for example. If that's really important to you, then the Feather Huzzah does that.
Someone wanted a heated box of Raspberry Pi. You could probably make one with some of the heated elements that we have in the store.
Yeah, we have little heaters.
Someone knows, is there a video tour of Adafruit? The answer is yes. Go onto our YouTube channel and look at the manufacturing tour that we did with the CTO of the United States, Megan Smith, and the Director of Advanced Manufacturing.
Yeah, the CTO.
Yeah, well, Megan Brewster.
Megan Brewster was
manufacturing.
Yeah, but
Megan Smith is CTO.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
I think you said of America.
Of America.
Yeah.
Where else would it be?
No, you didn't say CTO. I think you said Megan Smith of America, which is awesome.
I thought I said CTO of America.
I don't know, maybe you didn't. I didn't hear you. It's all good.
Anyways, she's an American.
Of America.
Yeah. So we have that.
Thanksgiving.
Next up, when charging a LiPo on my Feather board, it tops out at 3.9 and the charge light does not return. Any suggestions?
That's probably because there's some current draw that's going on. Like it will keep charging because something on your Feather board is enabled, and so it's drawing a little bit of current. Basically, you can just keep it charging and it'll slowly top off. It probably won't ever turn off. I've seen it turn off, but it's rare. It's basically just always going to be lit because something's going on at the same time. But that's not too unusual. Also, it is 100 milliamps. It's slow. I set the charge rate to be fairly slow.
Yeah. Next up, how many wings can you potentially stack together?
I mean, as long as they don't have pin conflicts, it's kind of like shields. As you want, like the proto wing, you can stack as many as you like because they don't interfere with the pins. But something,
it's a pin game.
It's just like you have shields or anything else. As long as the pins don't collide, you're good to go.
Okay. Do we sell a Bluetooth module for Arduino?
Yes, it's the Bluefruit LE. That's the low energy. We have the Bluefruit LE, and we have a ton of different versions. We have a Shield version that you might want to use. And then for Bluetooth Classic, we have the Easy Link, which is also a Shield and a breakout, and that's Bluetooth Classic. So you have low energy and classic Bluetooth.
Okay. Can the Adafruit Feather Huzzah be powered by a $5 USB battery pack I got at a big box store?
Yes. Just make sure it doesn't catch on fire, because $5 is pretty cheap.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
Okay, and those are the questions tonight, Lady Ada.
Okay.
Oof.
It was a speed round, but I got to them.
Okay.
Epic.
I think you got to most things.
I got to them.
Okay. If we didn't get to your question, post up at the forums. All right. Let's do a trivia question.
Okay.
What do you want to give away tonight?
We're going to give away a Feather Huzzah.
A Feather Huzzah? Oh my gosh.
Huzzah.
Okay. What are the rules on the trivia question?
The rules are, if you've won anything before on this fabulous show, you can't want to get only one winner per my lifetime on this show. The prize is the Feather Huzzah. The first person who types in the answer that Phil wants on, what are you going to be looking? Twitch, Ustream, YouTube?
No, wherever I see it
Wherever
first.
you see is it first, with the right spelling and typing correctliness, wins this prize. Email support at Adafruit if you win to get it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, go.
The first person to post a link to our 2014 post called Our Promise wins. That's all you got to do.
That's our last year Thanksgiving
Yeah,
promise.
you can go to adafruit.com/blog and type Our Promise, and then you'll be able to see the link, and then you post the link in the chat. Someone wants to know, is it possible to send a picture of Bluetooth low energy?
Slowly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 20 byte per packet max, so you can send multiple packets. You can do. I mean, it's not crazy slow, but it's not Ethernet or Wi-Fi here. We're talking.
Yeah.
It's low energy.
So the person who posted /promise, that's not correct. /promise is the blinking Christmas tree. It's called Our Promise, and
we're talking about the Thanksgiving promise from last year.
There's already a person who won. We asked you not to do that. good to know. So whoever reposts that link, I'll give it to them because another person who's, yeah, bonk. So if you saw that link, you can cut and paste.
Or you can go to one of the other
Yeah.
ones.
Oh,
There
here we
you
go. Let's see. The first one that posted is PCs for me. Congratulations, PCs for me. You got it. So PCs for me in YouTube.
Congratulations,
You won.
PCs for me, which is PCs for you.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell someone.
Oh no, you selected the entire.
It's not possible to post a message in the chat. You won.
You won.
You won. PCs for me. Okay, so email support at Adafruit.com. Boy, that's complicated. It was harder to say okay than it was to do that. Okay.
You
All
won.
right, you won.
Email support at Adafruit.com. Say you
Yeah.
won
Oof.
a Feather Huzzah
Yeah, email support at
PID
Adafruit.com.
2821.
2821. If you put PID 2821, that'll help our team. Phew. Okay. All right. That's it for the show tonight, everyone. Thank you so much. Once again, we're really, really thankful for all the folks who stop by every week. You're our community. You're the people who fuel Adafruit.
We would not be here if it wasn't for
Yeah,
you. I mean,
this
it would
is
be
all-
weird if we were broadcasting to an empty room.
You're all we've got, and we've all you got too. It doesn't seem like anyone else wants to do this. So let's take good care of each other. Don't forget, it's Feather Huzzah. All the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Tonight we are going to do a live broadcast at 2 a.m. It'll have something to do with Raspberry Pi stuff. It just will. Everybody knows it.
There's some Pi news.
Yeah, there's some Pi news. Okay, so we're going to be doing that. And
I'm actually kind of happy. I would not want to wake up at 7 a.m. I'm almost happier staying up
staying
till
up.
2.
Yeah, well, that's
Just caffeinate a little bit and then
that's
sleep
your
in.
thing. Okay. So we're going to do that. And thank you, everyone, so much. Have a fantastic and wonderful Thanksgiving, if that's your thing. If not, just have a great day anyways. We'll see everybody next week, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Here's a picture of a cat.
If you watch the
Yeah, you'll see a
Data,
cat
you get a live
tonight.
cat.
And here is your moment of Zener.